Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Connection Corner. I am Barb Nangle, and I'm the community manager of Known Coworking. I am really excited today to welcome two of the Knownpreneurs from Cohort 1 of Knownpreneurs Growth Lab. In a moment, we'll be welcoming Aneetrai Rowland and Dana Wade, who are both in the business of healthcare, and they will be sharing about their ventures and their experience in Knownpreneurs. But before I introduce them, I want to give you a little bit of information about Known. It's a dynamic co-working place to connect people across their fields of expertise, endeavors, and experiences. And though we started as a physical co-working space in downtown New Haven, and we're still the only co-working space downtown, we moved our community to the virtual world once the pandemic hit. As a reminder, Known Coworking has hourly, daily, and monthly plans for dedicated desks and offices, as well as conference rooms and Zoom rooms available. If you'd like to know more about the space, feel free to send me an email. I'm at barb@knowncoworking.com. You can also check us out at nhvknown.com or follow us on Instagram or Facebook at Known Coworking and DM us there. So I mentioned we moved our community online once the pandemic arrived, and as a result, we now have three virtual programs. We have Digital Media Sync, The Connection Corner, and Pivot Talk. You can catch replays of all of our episodes for free on the website, nhvknown.com, under Known Live. DMS, or Digital Media Sync, is your window to the digital world. It airs every Tuesday at 8:30 and is hosted by Julia Gambale. She is the social media maven of Agents of Branding. Pivot Talk is a virtual stage to help businesses to learn and share as they grow. And this show, The Connection Corner, is a place for dreamers, thinkers, entrepreneurs, social justice workers, educators, community members to talk about who they are, what they do, who they serve, why, and how. And it's to make connections. And we try to air just about weekly. And if you or anyone you know would like to be on any one of these shows, I'd love to hear from you. It's barb@knowncoworking.com. Our purpose in both the physical and virtual spaces is to make connections between people. We're here to get you connected, inspired, and known. And speaking of getting known, I host virtual networking every Monday from 4 to 5 p.m. And I am a connector. So I love connecting people to other people, organizations, ideas, resources, etc. In fact, when I do, it's like, oh, kind of like angels singing when I make connections. And it's my honor and privilege and thrill to do it. So hop on to virtual networking any Monday from 4 to 5. You can find it by going to our website, nhvknown.com, clicking on events. And when you scroll to the bottom of the page, you'll see an icon for virtual networking. You just click on that and you can join the meeting. Before I bring on our guests, I want to take a moment to tell you a bit about Knownpreneurs. Excuse me. It's a free 16-week mentorship and training cohort for minority-owned businesses in the greater New Haven area. It's the answer to BIPOC business growth. We provide free training, support, and mentorship to the entrepreneurs who are accepted into the program. This is our first cohort, which means there's going to be more. And it's funded by CT Next and the New Haven Innovation Collaborative. We received 30 applications and accepted 13 entrepreneurs, so be on the lookout for future cohorts. Today, we're featuring two entrepreneurs in the wellness business. So here they are. Actually, let me enlarge my screen so I can see what I'm doing. Here we have Dana Wade and we have Aneetrai Rowland. Welcome, Dana and Aneetrai.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. So what we're going to do, folks, is Dana and I are going to go off screen and we're going to give Aneetrai about 5 minutes to talk about her venture. And then Dana will have his 5 minutes and then the three of us will have a conversation. So take it away, Aneetrai. Let me give you solo stage there. All right. All yours.
Hello. Good morning, everyone, and thank you, Barb, for having me. My name is Aneetrai Rowland, and I'm founder of Emergent Access Services. Emergent Access Services is an app that people visiting the emergency room in less emergent cases can utilize to get a time frame or wait status instead of just waiting in the emergency room all those hours when you're an emergency by your perception, but not as emergent to take an ambulance in. Emergent Access Services is available for everyone. I want it to be free for the people. Excuse me. I would like for anyone to be able to use it and utilize it no matter their socioeconomic status, demographics, and so on. Um, Emergent Access Services was born due to me being a really bad patient at one point in my life. Um, I used to go to the emergency room when I wasn't feeling well. And then when I get there, I just be so frustrated having to wait so long. And I'm just like in the nurses' faces, in the tech faces, like, when is it my turn? Why is she going before me? Why is he going before me? It's my turn. And they're like, well, things work differently. That's not how it works here. And until I became gainfully employed by the Hospital of St. Raphael's in New Haven in 2005, I was none the wiser until I became gainfully employed. Then I understood how things work. I saw the great needs. I saw the work all the employees put in and how they really can't make those decisions on when you're going to be seen and how things move because it's all one system and everyone has to be in the line, like grouped together. So um Emergent Access Services came because I just said this has to be a less stressful environment. You already feel like crap. And there's probably emergencies coming through in ambulances. So for those times where you just have like a cough or a headache or, you twisted your ankle or something like that, you should be able to wait at home with your things with people you like in Dunkin' Donuts and be notified to just go in, get out, sort of like a drive through with compassion. But you're getting in and out and it's like a triage, but you're seeing a physician at the appointed time, and you're not going to be in a crowded emergency room. You're going to be 6 feet separated from everyone, which totally helps with COVID regulations and laws and things like that. You won't become a hallway patient, where when you finally get in the back of the emergency room, you're still waiting, like you're sitting in a bed in the hallway with other patients waiting. And then you're hearing their personal information and they're yours. So that's like HIPAA all over the place, like just horrible. I remember being next to a patient, a guy, and we were like adjacent, and he heard what I was there for. It was a little private, and I was embarrassed. And I heard what he was there for, and that's because we were in the hallway. And I just felt like, I know healthcare biggest concern is privacy, patient information, and privacy. And emergent access services will afford that because you'll be able to get in and get out. You just have to identify yourself with your ID, get your vitals taken, and see the physician. Only thing that will offset your visit is if something came in an emergency and it was an emergency and all the doctors and nurses need to go tend to that. So then you will probably receive a new wait time and wait status. I just got really, 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 really sad watching older people suffer in the emergency room, and children, like children and elders on my weak spot. And I know I could sit there and take it and just, but I don't feel like they should have to. I feel like seniors done pay their dues, they live their life. Some of them have to continue using the emergency department for like diabetes or dialysis or just blood pressure, and they have to go all the time, and their primary care physician isn't accessible at the moment. And statistics show even when primary care physicians are accessible, people use the emergency room because of their perception of need, like the urgency of, they feel like everything's there, or the tests can be ran, or the, situations can be handled. If there's anything wrong, they'll find out right then and there. And that's basically true. When you go to your primary care physician, you have to sometimes receive referrals, or you sometimes have to wait a few months, sometimes to get an appointment even. So people use the emergency room because it's just more accessible. So I just like to make it easier for everybody else. I'm a single mom. I'm an ideas person. I know my lane. I'm not a seasoned businesswoman by far. I'm in the presence of a lot of well-groomed and well-seasoned business people who are so generous with their time and information. Knownnpreneurs. I love this rope lab. I was accepted
You know
into
what?
it.
I'm gonna stop you there because we want to talk about that in a
Okay,
minute as a group. So that was wonderful. Thank you so
thank
much.
you.
And I love that you started with a personal story. Like this was me, blah, 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 blah. I'm sure many people can identify. So what I'm
Yes,
going to do now is take you off and bring Dina on. So we'll have you back in a few minutes. All right.
thank
Thanks, Aneetrai. All right, Dana. Now let me take her information off and put your information up, and I will leave you to have the screen to yourself. So tell us about Monitor My Health.
Yes. Thank you, Bob, for having me. I'm Dr. Dana Paris Waite. I'm a medical doctor trained in clinical cardiovascular disease prevention. What it means is the disease have two stages. We have what everybody knows, the clinical stage, when you have the symptoms of the disease, and then you go and then you get clinical care. And the other side, if the stage before the manifestation of the disease, which is a preclinical. So my training is to address the disease on the preclinical stage when the symptom have not been manifested yet. Um, how did I get into the prevention of diseases? Everything started when I was doing fellowship. Um, I was part of the research team, and I realized this that many people that we were seeing within the research setting were actually very surprised by the diagnosis that they were receiving. And they were almost in shock that how did I get diabetes? How did I get this heart disease? They didn't see it coming. And it just dawned on me that why is it that people are almost in denial when they get diagnosed with those chronic conditions. So it's just I realize that most people do not first see the condition developing. They're not very aware of the silent stage of the disease, and because of this unawareness, they do not seek care at that stage, and they just keep living their regular life as it is. That means that they keep living the life that has created those high risk conditions until the process is very far in the course, and then they get diagnosed. So I decided to create Monitor My Health, which is a preventative healthcare, and to bring awareness, and not only awareness but also to get people to know their health status when they are still unaware, or when they are still do not have any symptoms. So there are some red flag, like family history of diabetes or heart disease, or being overweight, or being hypertensive, or being on high blood pressure medication. So those are stages where are still manageable and can be reversed in most instances through lifestyle. And but people miss that window of opportunities where they can really change things through the lifestyle. And so Monitor My Health was created to address that stage. But we were blessed also with an evidence-based research conducted by the National Institute of Health that have come up with a very strict and very clear and precise strategy in the lifestyle change, how to implement, and what aspect of the lifestyle should be changed, and how to carry those changes in a sustainable way. So what do? We bring clarity and precision into um, into the lifestyle, meaning that we help people to move from a general approach as okay, I need to exercise, I need to eat healthy, I need to clean my food diet, my food diary. It's all good, but most people do not know how to implement those changes in the individualized approach, because um, the problem and the solution are not the same for everyone. Most people are high risk, but not all people have the same problem and the same solution to address those high risks. So we bring this individualized and this precision based on research approach to help people change their lifestyle in a meaningful way and to reverse their risk for type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic conditions also. So we are recognized by the CDC to be a diabetes prevention center, and also we are accredited by most insurance. The good news here is that the program is covered by Medicare, Medicaid, and most commercial insurance. So it does not cost, there's no copay for the program. And it's a life-saving, potentially life-saving. And the most important thing that uh, it helps develop sustainable lifestyle habits. So the benefit go beyond the intervention that we provide, because most participants carry those habits and that impact the rest of their life. So basically, in a nutshell, this is what Monitor My Health stand for. We focus on minority population, especially African American and Latino, because genetically those are a high risk compared to their counterpart Caucasian. And also we focus on low socioeconomic population, because research have shown that this is the population, that population is at increased risk compared to the high socioeconomic population. We also address the social determinant of health, meaning that we address parameters that are not directly medically related to the high risk, and that our comprehensive approach make us see the disease in the whole spectrum, and to provide an intervention that address not only the clinical aspect but also the subclinical aspect and the non-directly related clinical reason why people develop diabetes, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other chronic disease.
Wonderful. Great. So we're going to all come back together here now. And let me just take that off. And so this is really fantastic. I'm a huge fan of prevention, and I hate the emergency room. So I love both of these interventions. So I'd like to switch the conversation now from your specific venture to you being in the first cohort of the Knowmpreneurs Growth Lab. So when you applied to the program, what were you hoping that you would receive? And then did you receive that? Whichever one of you wants to go first is fine.
Well, I'll go first. When I applied to Knowmpreneurs, I've been in other accelerators, and I thought that maybe, this is something that would add to the things that I'm learning currently. And boy, was I blown away. It's like every person they have come in and speak, they give us like the best advice, guidance, and information that you have to pay a lot of money to receive if you weren't receiving it free from Knowmpreneurs. Mm-hmm. We're like family now. Some of us, we look forward to seeing each other's faces every day. Samantha Williams is amazing. Julia Gamble, she's amazing. All the mentors and things that come on, they're amazing. I look forward to seeing Dana, Yusuf, Gulia, Sammy, Pereya. Y'all get the gist. I'm just used to seeing everybody. And Montgomery and Yusuf Ransom, we were in the collab accelerator together. So I'm already familiar with them. Okay. So we're already like family, but I just like that it's early. I didn't like that in the beginning, but I like that it's early. I like that we're all allowed to introduce ourselves and tell what our needs are. We're all able to utilize the Growth Lab downtown New Haven. We
Mhm.
can go to the co-working space whenever we like. The owner of KNOWNPreneurs, Juan Roma, he actually comes in and visits with us sometime in the growth lab, and he gives us jewels of information and things like that. I feel like he's a humble person because he's already got it together. He's well established, well made, but he still comes and he shares with us. He generously shares his time with us, and I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, so she's talking about Juan Salos Romer,
Yeah.
who is the founder of Known. He's also the founder of NHR Group, which is a property development company that owns the building that Known is in. And he's a serial entrepreneur, and I have really enjoyed working with him for a long time. And yeah,
Mhm.
it's amazing. How about
Bob,
you,
you're
Dana?
also greatly appreciated. I
Oh,
apologize,
well,
but
thank
you're
you so
also
much.
greatly appreciated, Bob. Like truly, I
Yes,
said this
thank
off
you.
air, but
Yeah, thank you.
yeah,
I appreciate
you're
that.
welcome.
How about
You're
you,
welcome.
Dana? When you applied to Knowmpreneurs, what were you looking for? Did you get that?
Yes. So when I applied to Knownpreneur, I was looking for a way to. I just graduated with my MBA. I had a,
So you're a medical doctor and you have an MBA. So
yes,
you're saying you're a little bit of a slacker. Is that what you're saying?
yeah, some,
Okay.
some kind of. Well,
Well,
I had the.
congratulations.
Thank
Yeah.
you, thank you. So I knew from the beginning that in order to grow the business that I created to monitor my health to the next level with the landscape, socioeconomic landscape, I need to have a very refined business acumen, and I need to learn how to develop a business. I have the MBA, yeah, sure, but I have academic knowledge, but I needed something practical in the field, how to translate this academic knowledge
Mm-hmm.
into a practical way to
Mm-hmm.
take the business where it needs to be. As a medical doctor, actually, we know how to provide care. We know the scientific aspect of the business, but we're not savvy about the business aspect. So I
Mm-hmm.
was hungry to
Mm-hmm.
learn the business aspect. And this opportunity came as a way for me to do it. Actually, I received more than what I expected.
Oh,
Uh,
good.
I like the structure curriculum to help businesses. I have the blessing that I I've been in business school, so everything that they taught makes sense to me because it was the language that I
Mm.
understand fluently. So it was comfortable to attend every session and to know what they were talking about. Um, but the most important thing that I learned is how to branch out, how to collaborate, how to connect. And I think this is a very good benefit that I'm still getting from an entrepreneur, because I think, like they say in life, is who you know is not what you know to a certain extent.
Well, you got to know something, but
Yeah.
yeah, who you know, really, yeah, and especially in
Yeah,
entrepreneurship, those relationships matter.
Yes, yes. So I believe that relationship really, it's a very, I don't know how to quantify it, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a very important part of a business growth.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm.
and what entrepreneur have given me is the platform to get to know, to connect with other people who have similar interests
Right.
in
Right.
the society. So
Yeah.
this is it's still in process in learning, and I
Yeah.
think this is what I learned and that I continue to appreciate
Mm-hmm.
from the non-preneur business.
Wonderful. So now I'd like to shift to ask concretely, what have you learned, or what skills have you learned, or what has there been a very specific way in which being a knowmpreneur has impacted your business? So I know some people are like, I finally published a website, or I set up my books, or I figured out who my target market is, or something like that. So what are some concrete benefits that you've gotten from being in knowmpreneurs? Aneetrai, you want to go first?
the concrete benefits I received is knowing that I need a proposal pitch deck, a business pitch deck outside of the pitch one. I learned that I need a capability statement. It looks good. It shows people that you know your stuff and you're confident. I learned that even though you have the ideas and the access, there's a lot of, red tape and writing and letters and papers that you have to know and fill out. And I learned this in Knowmpreneurs from Sammy. Sammy lines up everyone that needs to tell us things. Sammy wants us all to succeed. She lets us know about the writing part and the part that's really going to get you seen and things that you need to apply when you're writing or things you're supposed to do. Like it's an art and she's good at it. So I appreciate receiving that.
Yeah, great. So just for those who don't know, she's talking about Sammy Williams. She's the program manager of Knowmpreneurs, and she's also the CEO of Sam's Word, which is a content creation firm for small businesses. She is a writer by heart. This is what Aneetrai was alluding to. How about you, Dana? Let's hear about some concrete benefits that you've received.
Yes. I was able to meet people, for example, like Miss Williams, Sammy Williams. It's someone I just subcontract with her to build websites and to not only to build a website on the aesthetic part, but also to work on the content. And I think this is the approach that I would have never, I don't know if I would have get it, because most of websites, either they work on the appearance, they work on something, but I didn't know that, that I could find somebody that will have enough insight to work on the content, on the presentation of the message. And I think this is a great benefit to have both on the same plate. Through Ms. Williams, and a rejuvenation of my website, and also addressing the content or the presentation of the content.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. So one of the things you both have really been talking about is communicating your message, whether it's in writing on your website and your content or whatever it is. And I think like you can have the best business in the world and have the most brilliant idea and be very clear who your target market is. But if you can't communicate that message to people and communicate the value of that message, then it kind of doesn't really matter how great your business is. So that's wonderful. So now I'd like to talk about the fact that this is BIPOC business support. So I think I'm going to start with you, Aneetrai, because you talked about being in Collab, which the bulk of the people that go through Collab are people of color, but not always. And I wonder what it has felt like for you to be a BIPOC entrepreneur and experience a growth lab that is specifically geared towards BIPOC entrepreneurs. Talk about what that's been like. I'd love to hear that.
It gives me like inspiration because I used to be afraid of saying things should be specific for us, like we didn't deserve it. Like it made me feel like I was being racist or, not including, but that's not the case. We need more of the direction focused on us now because we all have ideas. We're a part of this great nation. It's just that we don't receive as much as backing as our counterparts, especially a woman entrepreneur, an African-American woman entrepreneur, women period in entrepreneurship. So I like that it's specific. I like that they're not unapologetic about it.
Yeah.
Sammy has taught me you could be a businesswoman, but you can still get your point across respectfully and you'll be heard. So I take that every day and I appreciate that it's geared and focused on us and the needs that we have, and that even Barb, you and Julia don't feel no way about it. Like y'all down with us, y'all in there with us, y'all down in the ditch with us, and you guys don't even take offense to that. Like you understand the great need for us to have this situation right here. You two are allies. It's like y'all invited to the barbecue,
Oh,
so,
I just realized I've had Dana's thing up the whole time you've been talking. So actually, Dana, before I have you go, like one of the things I want to share here is I'm a sociologist by training. And so sociologists, among other things, look at how a society is set up and structured. And so when I came out of graduate school, I was really clear that my mission is to level the playing field. And for many years, I worked in the field of urban education because I feel like, education holds great hope for leveling the playing field. But I've also always believed that entrepreneurship holds great hope for leveling the playing field. But we don't have a system for entrepreneurship that we do for education. And after almost 20 years at Yale working in urban education, I became pretty disillusioned because the system of education is rather broken. And to me, it perpetuates some of the structured inequality in our society, and some of the evidence that our society is like racist in its structure are some of the health outcomes that that data has talked about. And so for me to be able to be part of this program that is a system for shepherding BIPOC entrepreneurs to get their ventures out to market is just such an honor and such a privilege. And I'm really and I have almost, I'm like behind the scenes, not doing a whole hell of a lot except for supporting. And then of
You
course,
do a lot.
doing this on this show and making connections for you guys. But it's just such an honor and a privilege to participate. But that being said, Dana, how about you? What has it been like for you to be part of this BIPOC growth lab?
Would you structure? I want to answer your question in the spirit of what you're asking. I understand in the structure, but would you give me a little bit of the spirit of the question?
Yeah, so there aren't a lot of entrepreneurial programs geared specifically towards BIPOC entrepreneurs.
Yes.
So this is different in that all of the entrepreneurs are BIPOC, all of the mentors are BIPOC, and 85% of the instructors are BIPOC. How has that felt to you as a person of color to be participating in a program that is built by and for and delivered by primarily folks of color?
Yes. Oh, now I understand. Thank you. So this is very interesting. Okay, my background is take me into will help me answer it in a very untraditional way. I was adopted by a Caucasian family. I was originally from Belgium. I was raised in a majority uh, Caucasian environment. I went to school. So, and because I was adopted by a white family, for me, I grew up, I think, subconsciously, uh, not attributing, because I didn't grow up in the US where the schism is very clear
Mhm,
because of the history based on where I'm coming from. I came here when I was 16, so I'm already formed my mindset.
mhm,
So for me, I always look at things based on the value of what the person is giving, not based on the color of the person, right?
mhm,
Even though I discover here in the US, actually, the value is usually tied to the color. That means that African American is likely to get a value from an African American than from a Caucasian traditionally. Okay.
mhm,
But that was for me a shift that I have not grasp. That's a shift for me that I just learned in the US, in the America, because the way it was structured, right?
mhm,
And almost subconsciously, when I am in the environment, I do not look at color. I look at what I'm receiving, you know. So for me, a person of color and a Caucasian, I think at the end I will be able to have my opinion based on the value that they're bringing,
mhm,
and so on and so forth, not
mhm,
based on what they're coming from.
mhm,
But that's almost an unconscious way that
mhm,
how my brain works.
mhm,
However, the reality on the field here in America, and I respect that, and I see why it is kind of important because of the history, but I do not relate to that in the sense that it's not something that I feel instinctively for me. So it will like not make any difference for me if 90% of the instructor were Caucasian or
Mm. So
90%
it
of
doesn't feel like so having people that look like you in your cohort and the instructors doesn't seem to make a difference to you. Is that what you're saying?
yes, yes.
Okay. All
I
right.
feel I feel I feel happy. I feel like connected with them.
Okay.
But I
Yeah.
think the connection comes from the spirit, from who they are
Yeah.
as a
The human.
person,
Yeah.
right?
Okay.
Not that much through the color. I don't know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So the next question is looking toward the future. So the Knowmpreneurs program, 16-week program, ends at the end of this month. What
Yes.
is next for you? So what kind of support do you need going forward to get your venture farther, towards your goals? So Aneetrai, how about you?
Knowpreneurs has graciously been giving mentoring and advisory. So I feel like my accelerator days are over and I can possibly still do some pitches, but I'm in need of seed round money. I need
Hmm.
an investor so I
Hmm.
can build a minimal viable product to prove
Hmm.
out emerging access services concept.
Hmm.
Have it running preferably in a smaller healthcare setting like an urgent care clinic,
Hmm.
so we can gather, data and analytics, and
Hmm.
then go and propose to larger hospitals. I'm in need of funding. I'm in need of funding from a venture capitalist, angel investor,
Hmm.
uh, seed investor,
Okay.
anything that's going to give me the funding that I need. I'm in need of funding. So
Okay.
the future
So
for me is trying to gain funding.
gotcha. Okay. So funding, and then it sounds like you might also need healthcare facilities to work with you to
Yes.
do to refine the product, and then also probably an app developer,
Yes.
that sort of
I
thing.
have a
Okay.
software development team. I
Oh,
have an app developer
oh,
through
good. Okay.
Samantha Williams. She referred me to Keno Mullings, the Mullings Group,
Okay.
and they're
Okay.
amazing.
Oh,
Only thing
great.
that's stopping the progress is the money, the
Money.
funding,
Right. Okay.
so
So,
but
right.
they know my idea, they agree with
Right.
it, they see my vision. They're even
Okay.
adding value to
Right.
the
Awesome.
situation. I don't want to lose them, but the
Right.
money is
Yeah. Right.
stopping it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, people. So anybody who knows anybody with money that might be interested in this, make sure that you connect with Aneetrai. Even if you don't know somebody, still connect with her on LinkedIn.
Thank
And
you guys.
how about you, Dana? What is next for you? Where are you going? What do you need to continue moving forward with your venture towards your goals?
Absolutely. So the Diabetes and Heart Disease Prevention Program is a CDC recognized and evidence-based program. However, and it's covered by most insurance. However, most primary care and hospital system are not leveraging this opportunity to
Mhm.
prevent those chronic diseases, who actually end up representing a big burden on the healthcare
Mhm.
costs through the emergency admission and so on. And I
Mhm.
think lifestyle change program not only can significantly reduce the emergency admission because it's address a lifestyle change that reduce those complications or even for chronic disease, but most importantly, the lifestyle change program prevents even the occurrence of those chronic conditions that
Mhm. Mhm.
you know and that do you know that actually most of the healthcare costs are consumed by people who are in a subcategory that can benefit the most from prevention. So
Right. Yeah, absolutely. Well, we don't do a good job in this country with prevention. We do more like disease treatment, like let's put a Band-Aid on it, let's give you a pill
exactly,
for it, as opposed to let's change your lifestyle, because most of the illnesses that are burdening our healthcare system are lifestyle illnesses, right? Yeah.
exactly. And
Yeah.
here we have a research-based lifestyle change. And
Hmm.
what I would like to see is to collaborate with hospital system, with primary
Okay.
care in the community, so that
Okay.
we have a strong referral system, so they can refer people who are at high risk, who have high blood pressures, who are overweight or obese,
Okay.
who are pre-diabetic. So let's refer those people to
Mhm.
a program like us
Mhm.
instead of waiting 2 or 3 years when they are diagnosed with those chronic conditions.
Right.
8 million of people are in this category. 1 in 3 Americans, 1 in 3 are
Wow.
pre-diabetic. So where are those people? And the hospital system and the healthcare provider see those folks
Mhm.
almost on a daily basis. And
Mhm.
here you have an evidence-based program available for them that does not cost a penny for them. So I
Mhm.
think it's just I would like to see more collaboration between the healthcare system, the primary care provider, and the provider and the lifestyle change provider,
Mhm.
specifically CDC recognized a lifestyle change program in the community. That would be a benefit for all of us in terms of the health,
Mhm.
especially in minority population,
Mhm. Mhm.
also in terms of the healthcare costs.
Right. Okay. So anybody who has a connection to a community health organization, to primary care physicians, especially for low income clientele and for Latino and African American clients, correct?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we only have about 4 or 5 minutes left. Is there anything else that either one of you would like to share that you haven't had the opportunity to share about?
I volunteer for UR Cares community. This community sets up help for things around the house, outside work, yard work,
Hmm.
cooking, or just being a companion to elderly people and
Hmm.
disabled people.
Okay.
That's
What is the
UR
name of it
Cares,
again?
UR Cares Community.org.
Okay. So the letter U and the letter R,
UR, yes.
Cares
UR Cares
Community.
Community.org.
.org. Okay. So
And
I'm creating a banner right now that I'm going to put up. Does that look right?
yes.
Okay, great. And
And
so,
also um, if you're able to help a child in need, please look into children's community program to
okay.
help out a child in need.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you for your service to the community.
Thank
Dana,
you.
anything you want to add that you haven't had an opportunity to talk about yet?
Yes, I just want to add that we are a not-for-profit 501(c)(3), and we address the social determinant of health, especially for low socioeconomic and minority population that are not insured or underinsured, that they shouldn't be afraid of seeking
Mm.
our service because we do have grants and income
Okay,
scholarship to help those who cannot afford the program. So
fantastic.
I think that it's a very important that people have access to those evidence-based lifestyle change that can make a big difference. And the financial barrier shouldn't be a reason for not
Excellent.
securing our service.
Good. I'm so glad you brought that up because you did mention that most insurances and Medicare and Medicaid cover it, but even people that don't have any of that coverage, no matter what their income, they should connect with you. So, just
Yes.
one last time, if you want to connect with Aneetrai, the best place to do it is on LinkedIn at Aneetrai Rowland. And if you want to connect with Dr. Dana Wade, you can do so on Facebook or Instagram at Monitor My Health. So what I'm going to do now is close out. So I'm going to take both you guys off the air for a moment. If you would stay in studio, I would love to chat with you for just a minute when we're done. Okay?
Yes.
Sure.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
All
Thank
Thank
you.
right.
you.
All right. All right. Thank you, everybody, for joining us today on this episode of The Connection Corner. I'm so grateful for Aneetrai and Dana for sharing. I want to remind you that every week at Tuesday, we have Digital Media Sync featuring Julia Gambale, the social media maven of Agents of Branding. So that's tomorrow morning. Or actually, we are not having it this week. And then in celebration of Earth Day this week, which is Thursday the 22nd, we will be having Kurt Johnson. He's the executive director of Save the Sound, which is the largest environmental justice organization in the state of Connecticut. And he's going to be talking about what the efforts they're doing in terms of saving the sound and working on the environment, and also what you can do. So please join us on Thursday at 2. Now, even if you are watching the recording, you can go ahead and leave comments and we will make sure that they get to Aneetrai and or Dana if you don't connect with them directly. Thank you so much for your time today, and I look forward to seeing you on Thursday. Bye now.